Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The Global Indigenous Youth Caucus appreciates the opportunity to address the forum regarding several crucial issues in this session. We are sincerely grateful for the assistance and support from the forum members, Secretariat, Indigenous elders, brothers and sisters. As a closing statement of the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus in this year's session, bearing in mind that matters addressed today will greatly affect our future tomorrow, we represent the following recommendations. First, for the forum to nominate a quorum of experts to discuss, prepare and release a series of expert reports on the global status of indigenous children and youth. In light of the implementation of the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, the planning, guidance, and development of such report and recommendations should be developed in conjunction with indigenous youth experts and the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus, with the guarantee of financial assistance from UN agencies and international organizations. The results and the recommendations of the finished expert reports must be available to be interpreted by non-expert indigenous youth. Second, following the recommendation above, the first expert report should address the participation of indigenous youth in this forum. Issues regarding, among others, numbers of indigenous youth participated since the first session, the distribution of indigenous youth from different regions, the degree of their participation, recommendations adopted by the forum and the status of implementation, and how to improve the participation of indigenous youth should be studied, evaluated, and analyzed in such report, as well as an assessment of the work and progress of the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus. Third, for the 12th session of the Permanent Forum include a half-day discussion on indigenous youth migration from traditional territories to cities. Many indigenous youth leave their traditional lands due to education, employment, displacement, conflict, and other factors. The causes of migration and challenges afterwards shall be addressed, and the impacts of such migration on indigenous youth's rights, identity, linked to culture and tradition, and good practices addressing such issues and other matters shall be discussed. Fourth, for the upcoming expert group meeting on indigenous youth in February 2013, given that we, the indigenous youth, are the experts of our own issues, representatives of indigenous youth shall be invited and founded to participate as experts. We request that at least one indigenous youth from each region is invited, and a consultation process with indigenous youth communities, organizations, networks, and the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus shall be conducted before the expert group meeting. The selection of such representatives shall be in partnership with the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus by a transparent process. Fifth, the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus has selected its new coordinating group, structured as two co-chairs, two regional focal points from each region by consensus. The new coordinating group is planning on a working meeting to be held this September to discuss and generate terms of reference, action plans, and other essential issues to ensure the work of the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus will be effective and efficient. We call for support from the forum, member states, UN agencies, and indigenous organizations in terms of mentorship, financial assistance, materials, and other crucial resources for such a meeting to take place. Sixth, for the regional focal points as well as the focal point on children and youth among the forum members, to establish a mentoring relationships with the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus coordinating group to build up the capacity of indigenous youth and enhancing their understanding of the UN system to improve full and effective participation. 7. Recalling paragraph 51 in the final report adopted by the Forum in its 10th session, the Secretariat of the Permanent Forum, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, UNDP, and the United Nations Program on Youth were recommended to cooperate closely with the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus to conduct and support regional and international human rights training programs to build the capacity and advocacy skills of indigenous youth. We reaffirm the importance of such training and call upon those bodies to start planning and organizing with the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus. 8. Recalling paragraph 77 in the final report adopted by the Forum in its 10th session, Ms. Myrna Cunningham and Mr. Alvaro Pope were appointed to prepare jointly with UNICEF a report on the situation of indigenous youth in Latin America and the Caribbean, and to present it to the forum at its 11th session. We request this report to be prepared and presented without further delay. In conclusion, the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus strongly reaffirmed that this forum is a place where all indigenous peoples can gather and voice their concerns and the issues they face in their homeland every day. These lands that are currently being occupied are indigenous lands and territories, but were taken away as a result of doctrine of discovery. Indigenous peoples, especially youth, have the right to participate in decision-making processes, including within this forum. Our indigenous nations shall be the ones to be looked upon in this forum, not nationality defined by mother sovereign states. Delegates traveling to the forum shall be protected from being detained, kidnapped, and denied entry due to visa, accreditation, political interference, and other hidden agendas. Indigenous people's rights to participation, assembly, and freedom of speech and travel should not be infringed upon by any forces. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Global Indigenous Youth Caucus for her presentation. I would like to return to the report I mentioned earlier.